Hey, I'm Jordan with Jordan Plays Blue, and this is another roundup. This is December 2023. It's now January 2024. It's a whole new year, and December was a good month. We played a lot of games. I tried to do a bunch of play a lot of a lot of games at the end of the year that I had missed earlier in the year that I had really wanted to play. So played a lot of games, a lot of new games, got some games for Christmas, got some games for the kids, played a lot of games with the family. We played a ton of Nana or Trio, played a ton of that, played Champions, which I think we talked about last month. My niece, especially, and my extended family really enjoyed Champions. Champions? Champions. I keep getting that and Challengers mixed up. It's definitely Champions. So, all right, let's get it right into this. This is Pies. Pies is from All Play. It's part of the trick-taking game pack that just delivered. This was with Lunar, Maury, and Bacon. Pies, I don't think, is a trick-taking game in its purest form. There aren't suits on the cards that really matter. You don't have to follow suit. You're just playing a card out, and then everybody around the table drafts a card that was played out, and then you're collecting these sets of different fruit to make pies with. It's a little bit more, it's a pretty light game, but I've had a hard time really teaching it to people. I don't know what the holdup is, but I do think Pies is a solid game. I wish that there were more scoring opportunities on some cards. I feel like all the cards should have something on them instead of some of the cards just being blank. I think at the end of the game, it kind of feels like there's some turns at the end of the game if you've already accomplished some of your scoring pie objectives or whatever. Say I've already turned in 4 cards for scoring and I only have 1 card at the end. There's going to be a couple turns at the end of the game where I might not actually get any points, and it just kind of, you never want a wasted turn in a game. It does kind of feel like you do have some wasted turns because of that. But I think it's pretty solid. We've enjoyed it. I think the theme is fantastic, and the look of the game is also really, really cool, and I think a lot of people have been enjoying that aspect of it especially. But I think Pies is really solid. I could definitely recommend this one. There you go. I'm Jordan. I don't know why I said I'm Jordan. I'm just doing a quickly review. So maybe I'll cut that, maybe I won't. Who knows? Whatever. Next game is another little one. This is Nimalia. I got to demo this at PAX Unplugged in 2022, I believe it is. I just got my hands on a copy of it. I didn't realize it was going to be such a small game, which makes sense because it's just a bunch of tile cards. This is a drafting game. You're going to have a hand of cards or pick and pass kind of draft around the table. And these cards are going to have different animals on each quadrant of the card, and you're going to make a grid of these animals. But what kind of makes this game more interesting is that it's going to have these rotating scoring objectives. There's 4 scoring objectives every game, and those are of course different from game to game. And it's almost Isle of Skye-like, where you're going to score these 2 cards this round, these 2 cards this round, these 3 cards this round, these 3 cards this round, that kind of thing, where it's not, you're not scoring just one thing each time. You're scoring different pairs and different groups of scoring objectives each round in different ways. So at the end of the game, you might be able to cover something up that you wouldn't have been able to earlier in the game because you might lose those points. So really, really quick game. It says 30 minutes. I think that might be on the long side. Very quick game. And I think this one is going to, especially gamers who want a really thinky or thoughtful filler game, I think this one works really well for that. It also is super portable and travels well. So Nimalia, I think this one's really cool. It's also really kind of light and breezy and quick. So there you go. I don't want to spoil my favorite games of the year list. I'm not going to, but I have a stack of games over here of games that are going to be on that list. So I'm just going to pull a couple, and maybe you'll see them later. This is Forest Shuffle. Forest Shuffle is from Lookout Games, and I really enjoy Lookout Games. Some of my favorite games of all time, Mandala, Gates of Loyang, Baron Park, Agricola. A lot of those games are some of my favorites. And so this is a Lookout game that doesn't look like a Lookout game. It doesn't have that Clemens Franz artwork. It has more kind of realistic artwork to it. It doesn't have that that's normal border that a lot of their games, kind of Llama Land has it, Baron Park has it over here. And so it just looks different. And this one is a straight card game. It is literally just a deck of cards and a long board. And you don't even need the long board. You could just play it on the table. And you are going to have these cards. You're going to use the cards in order to pay other cards. So it's one of those games where, like, if you want to play this card, it's going to cost you 2 other cards. You have to discard them. Kind of Race for the Galaxy does that. And you're going to be doing that throughout the game. So there's a lot of hand management, a lot of having to control what you want now versus what you want later aspect of the game. So you're going to be planting these trees out in front of you, and then you have these other cards. They're like half cards, and you can either tuck it on the left or to the right or the top or the bottom, and they're going to be different animals or different plants or fungi or butterflies, insects, birds, whatever. And they're going to live in these trees, and different animals are going to, these different cards are going to trigger in different ways. So last time I played it, for instance, I did like this deer kind of strategy where I had all these different types of deer, but then I also had a wolf in there, a couple wolves and some lynx, I think, that also scored bonus points for being in a forest with deer, and then the deer also scored for a lot of trees, so I had a lot of trees as well. And so it's just trying to find, you try to find almost like the most broken combo you can in it. It's one of those like giant stack of cards and just try to find the most broken combo you can. And I think it's wonderful. I think this one is super accessible. I've played it a ton on Board Game Arena and finally got a copy of it of my own, and I love it. Forest Shuffle. Did I say that name before? I don't know. Forest Shuffle. All right, and the last game I'm going to talk about today, I usually talk about a game I don't like, and I've liked all these games. I think I said that last month too, maybe. I just played a lot of good games. I'm trying to think of some I haven't liked so much, but yeah, we'll stick with the good ones. Anyway, this is World Wonders. This has gotten a lot of buzz. It's just now making it to America. Arcane Wonders brought it over. I think they had it at Gen Con maybe, and then they're just kind of like more wide copies are available now. I picked it up at a local game store. And World Wonders is what is this? It's a polyomino game, which you follow my stuff. I love polyomino games. It's a tile laying game where you're going to have, on your turn, it's essentially an action point system. And action point systems aren't around a ton nowadays. If you think back to like Tikal or Kutsko or Mexica, those types of games, those have action point systems, but they just kind of bog the game down a lot. You might have 10 action points. You're going to spend 2 for this action, 1 for this action, 2 for this action, 1 for this action. You kind of go back and forth that way. And this one has you have an action point system where you're keeping it on you're keeping track of it on a track, but you only take one. You only do one thing on your turn, and it goes to the next player. So it doesn't feel like it's bogging down as much as some of those other games. So it's like action points for like the modern game or whatever. And so in this game, you're going to be getting these tiles, and those tiles are going to have different resources, and you're moving up on these resource tracks. And then along with that, you have these roads that are connecting these different buildings across your board. And periodically throughout the game, those each cost maybe 1 or 2 coins or your action points or whatever. And periodically, you're going to be able to get a World Wonder. That's the name of the game. And these World Wonders are big, old, chunky wooden pieces. Big buildings, monuments, mountainish kind of things. And you're going to be able to put these on your board and fill your board with these smaller buildings and then these big kind of wonderful, awesome things. And they're not worth a ton of points, but it's a nice kind of thing that at the end of your turn, because they cost the rest of your action points for the round, if that makes sense. So you could really take that for 6 action points if you really wanted to, or just save it till the end and just get it for 1 action point, which I think most people should do. And it just has such a cool look to it. I can't wait for more Wonders to come out. I think our first game we saw every single Wonder in the box, and I would love for just more Wonders to be able to kind of beef up the variety from game to game. But so far, I've really enjoyed this one. It's just kind of sings really well for us, and it plays very smoothly and has very few rules for new players. So, wonderful game. World Wonders. Wonderful World Wonders. All right, there you go. Those are 4 games. Pies, Forest Shuffle, Nimalia, and World Wonders. They're all cool games. Check them out. I can recommend all of them. All right, till next time.